Well, what an outstanding performance by England. They have redefined the way Test cricket should be played and whitewashed Pakistan in Pakistan for the first time ever. Lots of contributions, lots of star performers by England. Rehan Ahmed, the debutant, taking 5 wickets, creating all sorts of records. Harry Brook has been the star of the show, but Ben Stokes, what a proud moment for him. Under his captaincy, he's led his troops so well and managed to create history in Pakistan. Well, this is what the match looked like. Pakistan making 304 in their first innings. Babar Azam was the top scorer. In response, Harry Brook with yet another 100. And then Pakistan were bowled out for 216, where Rehan Ahmed took 5 wickets. England made it look very easy. 170 for 2. And they won by 8 wickets this 3-match test series, 3-0. Hello and welcome to the MY2L Solar Energy Pitch Side Show. It's a historic series win for England. They've had quite a few performers throughout the series, Harry Brook being one of them. But this test match will definitely belong to the young debutant from England, Rehan Ahmed, who also happens to be in the studio with us alongside Bazid Khan. Rehan, many congratulations on this performance. You've obviously created lots of records, youngest debutant. When you were getting on that plane, did you ever think that you'd get 5 wickets in Pakistan?
No, I didn't. I never thought I'd play. I thought I came here just to get better. Never really thought of it, but yeah, to play and then to get 5 wickets is the best feeling ever.
Your dad was also extremely proud. We earlier spoke to him as well, and you know, he just spoke about how he's put in all the hard yards in making sure that you get onto the ground, and obviously supported you throughout. Tell us a little more about his role in your grooming.
It was massive. I think without my dad, nothing would have been possible like this. But also, like, obviously, joint partnership, my mum, my dad and my granddad. So it was like a full family thing. But yeah, I'm just grateful for all of them.
What about Leicestershire? I know that, you know, you play for them, and what kind of role have they played in terms of just in your career and supporting you? What kind of skills have you acquired at Leicestershire?
I think, well, obviously I left Nottinghamshire when I was 13. For Leicester to welcome me with open arms and treat me like one of theirs straight away was unbelievable. But yeah, hopefully I'll stay there forever, and I love the club.
Well, weren't you quite close in playing that first test? There were so many illnesses. There was your name popping up that he might be one who's not ill.
Yes, I wasn't ill, but obviously these things just happen how they are. So.
But in terms of the test match, obviously you got 5 wickets, but which one wicket did you enjoy the most? Obviously getting Babar Azam out is one, but in terms of actual delivery and actual wicket, which one did you think was the best?
I really liked Rizwan's wicket because the last 2 or 3 months I've been working very hard on my leg spin. So yeah, to get Rizwan out with a leg spinner was special, I think.
Your weapon has mostly been the googly. I mean, that's one thing that's stood out, and everybody is finding it hard to pick you off the hand. But I mean, that skill in particular, did you acquire it at a very young age? Is it something that you worked hard upon? Have you got tips from anybody how to actually bowl the googly?
I think it came very natural to me, the googly. When I started bowling leg spin, I could only bowl googlies, so my leg spin was always the work on. But I was always told just bowl it as fast as you can, so even if they pick it, it's harder to play. Yeah.
Shane Warne had predicted, you know, just by watching you, that you're going to be playing for the England cricket team. How special was it, your interaction with him?
Yeah, I think it was massive. I think it was a great point in my life. For him to tell me just to keep doing what I'm doing, and gave me a load of confidence when I was very young. So, thankful for it.
Well, we're talking about this top performance by Rehan Ahmed, so it's only fair to revisit his wickets. And of course, he said Rizwan's one was really special. So let's have a look.
Top performer, brought to you by MY2L Solar Energy.
Yeah, this one was probably the game turner. The leg spinners get these wickets pretty often, and then this, Jan says, it was his well, perfectly pitched leg spinner and did a bit. Then the top edge, the googly, I think he bowled better to the left-handers and was able to exploit that googly a lot. And then it's just carried on. And that final wicket with a bit more bounce, and it just kept getting better and better for Rehan Ahmed on Test cricket.
Well, he is the youngest debutant to take a 5-wicket haul in debut. You have that list there above Pat Cummins. What a performance by this young lad.
Top Performer, brought to you by Inverex Solar Energy.
I'm sure you have aspirations of your own, you know, obviously making a debut for England and then a dream debut has to be one of them. But when you're looking ahead, you know, what are your plans in terms of what are your personal goals that you want to achieve for this side?
I mean, to be honest, my goal was to play Test cricket whenever I can, and to play at such a young age, I feel very blessed. But obviously, I haven't thought just any further just yet. So when I get home, I'll write some goals down and crack on.
How special was it to do it in Pakistan? Obviously, there was a lot of support for you, but you did it for England. But anyway, how special it was to come back here and perform like you did?
Very special. I think Babar is one of the best players in the world as well. So to get them wickets and to win 3-0 in Pakistan was huge. So it was great to be part of.
Well, you were absolutely magnificent and all the best for your future. Of course, you are going to be a star in the making for England when you talk about his performance. Youngest debutant, and he's created all kinds of records already, and one for the future, definitely. We'll be taking a short break, and when we do come back, we'll be joined by a new guest. Back at the Inverex Solar Energy Pitside Show, and I've now been joined by David Gower. David, you know, it is truly an outstanding win for England. I mean, we've not had many occasions where they've managed to clean sweep a team in the subcontinent, but they've managed to do it now under Ben Stokes. Tell us a little about what you think and how you're going to reflect back at this fantastic win.
Well, when you say not many occasions, 0 occasions before this. It has been the most extraordinary performance. It carries on exactly what England started last summer when Ben Stokes first took the captaincy on. They've been very brave, very positive. They lost that one test against South Africa, which was just an aberration, it seems, in the context of everything else. They lost it badly. They picked themselves up. They said, fine, that was always going to happen at some stage. But coming here, let's face it, any of us who've been here before know exactly how tough it used to be beating Pakistan on Pakistan soil. For all sorts of different reasons, including the quality of Pakistan's home cricket. For various other reasons, I don't think Pakistan have played their best cricket by any stretch of the imagination over the last month. They've been beaten well. I think the positivity from Stokes as a captain has certainly overshadowed anything Babar's done as captain of Pakistan. And when we talked earlier this morning, we talked about 1 or 2 resources being missing, which is true. Pakistan not at full strength, but nonetheless, I think even if they had been, the positive approach that Ben Stokes and his team have shown would at least have won them the series, given what we've seen. Maybe not 3-0, who knows, but I think they'd have won the series pretty much come what may.
Well, this is not the first time England has whitewashed a team in the subcontinent. It has happened before as well. You can pretty much see the record against Bangladesh, twice against Bangladesh, twice against Sri Lanka, and then now against Pakistan in Pakistan this year. Right, Pakistan will be looking back at their mode of dismissals the most. When you look at throughout the series, that's one area where Pakistan has struggled. Their batting has been unable to convert various starts, and the shot selection has definitely come under scrutiny. Let's revisit the Pakistan wickets from yesterday.
Fall of wickets, brought to you by Inverex Solar Energy.
Yeah, all started with Shan Masood. They were going quite well, the openers. 53 they put on. Reverse sweep inside edge, and Azhar Ali comes in. He got a real brute of a delivery. Drifted in and turned and hit top of off. Not the delivery you want in your final test. This has been a problem for Abdullah Shafiq. The ball coming back in from the left arm. He's been missing that quite often repeatedly. Then it was about Rehan Ahmed. Started off with a half tracker, a bit of luck there. This was a beautifully pitched leg spinner. Rizwan with his 4-form continued. South Shakil batted well, extra bounce from the leg spinner, the googly this time around, and he was on a roll, and England were marching towards a very comfortable innings, or chase I should suggest, route with a bit of spin outside off stump, and then Mark Wood with extra pace. Mark Wood has been the X factor throughout the series. With reverse swing and with that short ball, he's been able to extract a little bit extra from these dead pitches. First team trying to hit over the top. This gave Rehan his fourth. And then that moment, the top edge sweep, caught at short fine. Rehan Ahmed, youngest bowler to get 5 wickets for England.
Fall of wickets. Brought to you by Inverex Solar Energy.
Well, we're talking about Pakistan being poor with the bat in this series, and this pretty much tells you a story. If you look at the averages for all the players, you haven't really seen a big 100 or a double 100, which is why it pretty much explains that's the one area that they've been lacking. And if you compare it to the England side, Bazat, I mean, that's where the main difference has been. They've come in to Pakistan and adjusted in these conditions so well, barring Root. Pretty much everybody scored.
I wouldn't say adjusted, they just played the way they've been playing for so long, sort of since this Brendan, McCullum and Stokes combination. They've been able to attack Pakistan and put Pakistan under pressure in terms of the way they scored, in terms of the run rate or the strike rates that they had. That allowed them then to be able to get 20 wickets, and when they bowled, they were able to put Pakistan under pressure through funky fields, through attacking options, but also through really good sustained pressure bowling. So Ollie Robertson comes on, he hits a length time and time again, Pakistan go nowhere. Anderson comes on, he hits length time and time again, Pakistan go nowhere, and that pressure builds and builds. And then you've got the X factor, you go to short pitch bowling, you got Wood, the spinners are doing a job. I thought Leach did a really good job throughout the series, and that has meant that England have been much better than Pakistan throughout.
David, where do you find all these resources from? Because it's one thing to talk about the mindset. The mindset is there, but then you also need players to execute that mindset.
Yeah, it's a very good point, because to play this way, you need players. For instance, Harry Brook is the best example from this series, who have the techniques, the abilities. I mean, he's got extraordinary talent. Some of those shots he's played from wide of the pitch on the leg side through extra cover off both pace and spin, outrageous in many, many ways. You go back to the coaching manuals of way back and they wouldn't be anywhere near that. So you've got people who have to believe in themselves like that. But let's also face the truth, which is there are always phases in every national team's development and sometimes regression. So, you know, it's only less than a year ago England were being horribly beaten in Australia. Less than a year ago, England were losing in the West Indies final test match there in Grenada. They could have won it, but they fell apart and lost it. So there are so many factors, but it all seems to come back to Stokes and McCullum and the atmosphere they've created in the dressing room. But yes, it's a very good point. You need those players. For instance, in the summer, Johnny Bairstow, who sadly was injured at the end of the summer, played the cricket of his life to make 100 after 100 after 100 in winning causes and lots of successful chases. And those chases were the sort of numbers you haven't seen before, and they did it time and time again. If, for instance, in, shall we say, 5 years' time, some of these guys are no longer there, and the next generation of English cricketers don't have quite the same flair, then someone will have to tweak the theory again, so tweak the formula, and say, right, we need to play according to our current resources to win games. But they've set a template down which has been brilliant. It wins them games, and I think as important as anything, it entertains people. So Test cricket, for its survival as a genre over the next 10, 15, 20 years, needs to be interesting, needs to be entertaining, and England have certainly provided that.
Well, from a Pakistan perspective, we spoke about how the batting has been rather disappointing on there. And one guy who's obviously struggled in this series is Mohammad Rizwan. Against Australia, we saw him how he contributed, but this series has been rather disappointed, not being able to score a lot of runs. Let's find out from the experts what his struggles have been.
Have your say. Brought to you by Inverex Solar Energy.
Baz, I mean, if you look into the stats of Rizwan, that pretty much tells you a story because he was brought into the test side. He has been contributing in the past, but the last 12 innings, what do you think is the reason? Is it because of lack of confidence, or what would you put it down to?
There could be a couple of reasons here. He's been playing cricket consistently for the last 2 years, every format, and that might just play a part on that. He's been very good in white ball, and then he comes to Test match cricket. These few series he struggled in. The other fact is that in this series, the only time that he looked really good was once he opened. I think in the first Test match when he had to open and he looked better then. He looked more settled and got boundaries away, and he didn't get a lot of runs, but he looked better then. Once he's come into the middle order, he's tried to force the pace, tried to impose himself, and because he's slightly out of form, he's not been able to do that. I think what would have suited him was going up the order and being able to build the innings with the ball coming on. He's also struggled with the lack of pace also. But yeah, it is a concern. It is a concern that he's not scoring runs. The good thing about all this is that we're not talking about his wicket keeping, so he's done well behind the stumps. There's been no errors as such to talk about. But then you look at the bigger picture, you want him to perform with the bat as well. So you have to look at how many games he's played. Maybe there's a bit of fatigue there. And also you have to then think that maybe he's batting slightly too low, especially on pitches here, where he's the type of player who wants to impose himself. He wants some kind of balls that's coming on, and he looked really good when he was opening.
Do you think Sarfraz has a chance to make a comeback?
The way that Pakistan has lost the series, I think there'll be a change. There'll be calls for changes, and Sarfraz, well, this is as good a chance as ever for Sarfraz to come back into the team. But you still think that Rizwan is still probably, saying all that, he's been the one keeper who's been a constant for Pakistan for so long now.
Right, you heard it from the experts themselves. There's a lot to ponder on, and that was Have Your Say for you.
Have your say. Brought to you by Inverex Solar Energy.
DG, it's been fantastic having you here, but from a Pakistan angle, you've followed a lot of Pakistan cricket now. You've obviously been here in this series. For New Zealand, just from your perspective, how do you think Pakistan can turn things around for themselves?
Tough question. When you've lost a series like this, very tough to pick yourself up, and in the space of a few days as well, because that first Test match against New Zealand starts in just a few days' time. Rather than making wholesale changes, you've got to look at your best performers. You've got to look at your best psychology. I mean, just talking about Rizwan, for instance, just to add to that, I think he's still a very, very good player. His keeping's fine. I mean, that second innings, it was at Multan where he opened. He got the most magnificent delivery from James Anderson. That's when your luck's running out. On a pitch which did nothing for 4 days, to get a sort of leg break from James Anderson is unlucky. So I think you back your best players, and he is one of your best players. You hope for more from your best players. And for instance, if for once, I mean, one of the failings here in Karachi was that first innings where no one went on. I mean, Babar's shot, it cost him another chance of 100. If Pakistan had made even 350 and possibly 400 with a couple of guys getting big runs, changes the course of a game like this. So they need to understand that actually they're not suddenly bad players. I mean, I've been through this myself years and years ago. You have good series, bad series. You come up against good opposition, you might lose that series. You have to completely reset and say, right, it's different people we're playing against. We now need to raise our game.
The luck often runs out when you're out of form, Bazid. I mean, such is the irony of life and this game. But just would like to thank you both. Of course, it's been a pleasure having you in the Pitchside Studio Show. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you guys again. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you, DG, here in Pakistan.
If I can say once again how much I enjoy being here, just Bazit's company, your company, even if you don't talk about cricket, especially in Bazit's case, it's brilliant. So actually, on behalf of all of us that have visited for the last month, I know the England team have been more than happy, delighted with the response they've had from everyone here in Pakistan. I know we as broadcasters get looked after very well, but our colleagues in radio, everyone's had the most extraordinary time, very, very memorable times. and I'm sure they'll be looking very much forward to coming back. I think it's 18 months' time or so that England come again, and they'll come with the same resources here, maybe the same approach, and probably with more supporters as well, just to make it yet more interesting.
Yeah, it's great to see Barmy Army, flying down for this series. It's been historic for them as well. But Pakistan doesn't really have a lot of time to turn things around, because New Zealand is now coming on the 26th of December to play their first test match in Karachi. The next test match will be played on the 3rd of January, which will be in Multan. And then we move to the ODIs, back to the Karachi for the ODIs, 10th, 12th and 14th of January. Well, disappointing series, of course, from a Pakistan angle, but the fans of England would be really delighted because they've come out in huge numbers to support this team. It's been a fantastic series, there's no doubt about it, and Ben Stokes will be going back a really, really happy captain. I hope you guys have enjoyed the coverage. We certainly have. It's been great fun bringing you all the live cricket, but from next time, of course, from here until now, for next time, it's goodbye from all of us.
It's been 17 long years since England toured Pakistan for a test series. They are here, they are ready to go.
Test match 100 for Zach Crawley. Ducket maiden test match century. Third test match century for Ollie Pope.
What a day for Harry Brook. What a day for England.
A third test 100 for Abdullah Shafiq. The last day of this first test match, and it is set up perfectly. Oh, close, very close, given. That is one of the greatest test match victories you'll ever see. After that dramatic ending in Rawalpindi, the show moves to Multan, the city of saints. Just want to get that ball in his hand and have a bowl.
Oh, what a start this is.
It is a test fifer on the first morning as an international test match cricketer, Abra Ahmed.
Barber wants 50, Barber gets 50.
And that's another one.
But you'll get that, you'll get that, you'll get that. That's a beauty. Oh, what a morning that has been for England.
Harry Brook is a serious talent with a massive future in the game. Oh, what a Jaffa! What an absolute Jaffa! Off stump, halfway up. It's nailed that stump back onto the ground. It's found its way through.
Well, it's all set up beautifully for this second test match. Day 4, Multan, and we should have a result here today.
Beautifully bowled, and England have yet another famous victory here in Pakistan.
When you're running out of luck, need to get unstuck, so go off. When you're up against the wall and you get off fast, so go off, go off, go off.
Goes to yet another half century. Oh, in the air, there's a chance.
And England's youngest ever test match cricketer is off and running, and his dad is celebrating with his son.
Rayan Ahmed becomes the youngest ever debutant in Test history to take a 5 for.
Azhar Ali's time as a test match cricketer has come to a close.